When it comes to connecting with fans, no former player does it quite like Ian Wright. When it comes to legendary status, very few players are considered legends of more than one club. Cristiano Ronaldo, just to mention one. But for the others, Steven Gerrard, Liverpool legend, just Liverpool. Thierry Henry, Arsenal legend, just Arsenal. Paul Scholes, Man United legend. Lampard, Chelsea legend. You get the point. But Uncle Wrighty achieved exactly the opposite. He is adored at both Highbury and Selhurst Park. But how did he achieve this? Which kind of struggles did he have to go through to reach where he did? And was he really that good? Brace yourselves, it's going to be a good one. Wrighty was born in Woolwich, England in 1963 to Jamaican parents. His childhood really tough as his father was absent while he was brought up by an abusive stepfather. Thankfully, he had football and Mr. Sidney Pigden to turn to, the first positive male figure that he had in his life. He had trials at Southend and Brighton in his teens, but was never given a professional contract as he never impressed enough. Oh, if only they knew. As a result, he decided to play for a couple of local non-league teams, which obviously didn't feed him. It was not until he was locked up in prison while his wife was expecting that he burst into tears and vowed to do everything to become a professional footballer. At the age of 21, Wright was signed by semi-professional club Greenwich Borough, where he got paid £30 a week. Yes, £30 a week. Luckily, that didn't have to last too long as he was soon spotted by Crystal Palace and impressed manager Steve Coppell during the trial. Crystal Palace signed him in August of 1985. The transfer fee? Well, now there was no money involved, but there was something. There was definitely something. Weightlifting equipment. Yes, that's right. In return for Ian Wright, they asked for gym equipment. Just imagine that right now. Arsenal signing Mbappe not for £90 million, but for 3 treadmills. That sounds crazy. His impact to the Eagles was immediate, and when Mark Bright arrived the following year, they formed a partnership which led the South London club to the top flight. During Arsenal's title-winning campaign of 1990-1991, Wrighty led Crystal Palace to their highest ever finish in the league. He finished his Palace career with 117 goals in 277 appearances. He's third on that list. The other two were from years and decades ago. This time, Wrighty was signed for money and not gym equipment. I mean, it does help that Arsenal had just won the league title, so we did have some spare cash. In fact, a club record fee of 2.5 million. Yeah, just 2.5 million. What did you expect it to be? 100 million? This is 1991, guys. But fun question, how much would Ian Wright be worth in the transfer market right now? Arsenal signed Ian Wright in September of 1991. Funny enough, now I'm not sure if it's funny, it's actually sad, but literally in the same month, Arsenal loaned out Andy Cole to Fulham. Yes, the Andy Cole who went on to win the treble with Man United. Just imagine Andy Cole and Ian Wright in the same forward line for Arsenal. Here is the 1993-1994 top scorers list. Andy Cole with 34, Shearer with 31, Letitia with 25, Sutton with 25, but the less said about Chris Sutton, the better. He actually does suck these days. Ian Wright with 23, Mark Bright with 19. Good to see Mark Bright was still doing good for himself at another team. But Andy Cole and Ian Wright, 34 plus 23, that is 57 goals for Arsenal instead of 23. That would have been 57. Just imagine what that partnership could have been like. Anyway, enough of the 1994 mini rants. Let's go back to where it all started for Wrighty at Highbury. Immediately he signed for Arsenal, he scored on his debut in a League Cup match against Leicester City and a hat-trick in his league debut against Southampton. The Saints must have been sick of the sight of him as he scored another hat-trick against them in the last game of that season to take him to 29 league goals, the league's top scorer. He went on to become the top goal scorer in each season up until 1997, 6 consecutive seasons for Arsenal. Only Thierry Henry has ever done better, 7 seasons in a row, but we all know the kind of level the king was operating on. But Wrighty still owns a couple of records that not even Thierry Henry could match, but we'll cover that throughout the rest of the video. He led Arsenal to the Cup double in 1993, beating Sheffield Wednesday in both finals, scoring twice in the FA Cup final and the replay, and also helped in Arsenal's Cup Winners' Cup success the next season. The arrival of Bruce Rioch after the departure of George Graham didn't help though, as he didn't get along with Wrighty at all. He handed in a transfer request which he later retracted. Remember Ian Wright's fruitful partnership with Mark Bright back in his Palace days? Well, he was about to create another one. Dennis Bergkamp arriving in 1995, and in his first season, he and Ian Wright helped Arsenal finish 5th. A huge deal considering in the previous season, Arsenal could only manage a 12th place finish. Arsene Wenger arrived in the summer of 1996, and despite Ian Wright being 33 at the time, he continued breaking records. That season, he finished 2nd on the top scorers list, just 2 behind the legendary Alan Shearer. He also set a record of scoring against 17 of the 19 opponents he faced in the league that campaign. Only Van Persie has ever matched that, and that was 15 years later. He broke Cliff Bastin's record of 178 goals to become Arsenal's all-time top scorer in September of 1997 with a hat-trick against Bolton. Speaking of hat-tricks, he notched up 11 of them for Arsenal. That is 2 more than Thierry Henry ever got. In his final season with Arsenal, he became a Premier League winner and added another FA Cup to his collection. 185 goals in 288 appearances. A fantastic return for someone who used to play for non-league teams at the age of 20. He went on to play for West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Celtic and Burnley, but it wasn't always smooth sailing, especially at Celtic where he was abused by his own fans. I promise you there was no gym equipment used as transfer fees between any of those clubs. During Wrighty's international career, England played a total of 87 matches, but he only played 33 times. From those 33 caps, he only started 17 of them. It kinda gets worse. Wrighty never featured for England at a major tournament. None at all. Now we can exclude the 1994 World Cup which England didn't qualify for, and the 1998 World Cup as well since he was injured. He was available for selection for the 3 others though, the 1990 World Cup and the 1992-1996 Euros. But despite that, he never got picked. Apparently he wasn't the answer. Now I understand that during the 90s, the 3 Lions were blessed with some incredible firepower. Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer, Teddy Sheringham, Robbie Fowler, Michael Owen. I mean, that's about 1,000 goals right there alone. But still, between 1990 and 1997, Wright never scored less than 20 goals in any of those seasons. He actually scored more than 30 in 5 of those seasons. It gets even crazier. He never even played more than 3 games in a row. There was always a gap in his call-up, sometimes huge gaps like that one between 1994 and 1996 where he didn't feature once. It must have been really tough for him not to be on the plane to Sweden for the 1992 Euros. He was the league top scorer. He was the league top scorer in 1992 and still didn't go to the Euros. It must have been even tougher seeing his Arsenal teammates being picked over and over. Tony Adams, Platt, Smith, Paul Mason, all of them. It was unfair. The title of this video should probably be put to the 3 England managers during that time. They clearly didn't think he was good enough. A forgettable international career, but a very remarkable club career. He is Arsenal's 2nd top scorer of all time. He is also Crystal Palace's 3rd top scorer of all time. He picked up the goal of the season in 1990 and the Golden Boot 2 years later. Crystal Palace voted him their player of the century, while Arsenal placed him in 4th in the 50 greatest Gunners list. More importantly, he was recently inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame, 100% deserved. Was he good enough? Yes, he was. More than good enough. Like this video if you agree that Uncle Wrighty was absolutely good enough, unlike those England managers who didn't pick him. And there we go. Uncle Wrighty. Absolutely amazing career, an Arsenal legend. One of the greatest players to ever do it. I'll tell you another player who was good enough as well. Robert Pires. He had a better international career as well, I promise. Click on the video on screen right now to take a look at Robert Pires' player profile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.